Recently, terrifying new digital restrictions have descended over the United Kingdom that could mark the absolute end of the open internet there. But here's the thing, a large percentage of my audience is American, and I live in the US, and you might be asking, well, why should I care about that? That's a British problem. But here's the thing, those restrictions, they're actually serving as the high stakes beta test for the exact same safety laws that are being fast tracked through pretty much the US court system and the government as we speak. In early April of this year, the UK internet's regulators officially flipped the switch from asking platforms to be safe to forcing them to comply. And the results are an absolute bloodbath for anyone who still believes in an anonymous connection. We aren't just talking about a few small websites being taken down. Like I said, we are talking about the literal dismantling of the internet's core infrastructure, where the government is now literally issuing digital death warrants for any platform that refuses to implement mandatory ID checks. This is the global blueprint for the total destruction of your privacy. And with states like California and Alabama already passing their own versions of these UK mandates in early of this year, the Great British Firewall is actually just a 6-month preview of what could be coming to America. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on why the UK banning the internet is the final warning for every American and even just people around the globe who still want to own a private computer in the first place and an unmonitored connection to the world. So the most terrifying part of this 2026 crackdown isn't just the websites that they are blocking, but the way that they are legally moving to kill the very tools we use to stay private, specifically targeting the last lines of defense, which is the VPN. So for years we've treated VPNs as a pretty simple tool for security, but the UK government has officially decided that these tools are too dangerous for the average Joe to have without a state authorized reason. They're currently moving to create what is essentially a digital curfew that is pretty much enforced at the internet provider level to ensure that no one can slip through the cracks or hide their activity from the government's eyes. The UK realized that the only way to actually make their censorship work was to kill the tunnel that allows people to bypass it. So they are now pretty much pressuring the companies that give you internet to identify and throttle VPN traffic unless you can provide a government approved ID to prove who you are. This creates a total surveillance loop where your real world identity is pretty much tied to your internet connection at all times, making it impossible to exist online without a digital path that tracks you from site to site. And if you think that US politicians won't try this, well, you need to look at the recent moves in states like Wisconsin, where they've already tried to draft laws that would regulate encryption out of existence, proving that the UK's roadmap of total connection control is being studied and copied by lawmakers in the US and probably other nations as well. While we have been watching the UK deal with this whole scenario, well, the US has been quietly building its own version of this exact same firewall through a massive new plan called the Kids Act of 2026, and it is way more dangerous than the name suggests. So this bill, which has cleared a major hurdle in the House of Representatives in March, this bill, it is the absolute final form of all of those online safety bills that we've been worried about for years. And it takes every single enforcement trick from the UK and hides it in the fine print of the law. So it gives the government a duty of care power that sounds nice on paper, but actually gives them the authority to dictate exactly how an app is allowed to work. Just like in Britain, where they are now legally banning things like infinite scrolling, autoplay, and those streaks on Snapchat for being too addicted. The US version would give federal agencies the power to fine a company pretty much out of existence if their software isn't government approved for safety. We're witnessing the potential death of software innovation in real time, where the cool features you love and enjoy are being replaced by a centralized state managed version out of the web, where every app has to be neutered and scanned by a bureaucrat in Washington DC before it's allowed to land on your phone. So this is where the hardware level comes back to haunt us, because the only way for the government to actually enforce a digital curfew or like a website blacklist is to pretty much have like a scanner that lives inside your own device, which is exactly what California potentially made a reality with their new digital age assurance mandates. So while the UK is blocking things at the internet provider level, California is taking it a step further by forcing companies like Apple and Microsoft to build identity like checkpoints directly into the initial like setup of every new phone and computer you buy. By early 2027, your new iPhone or Mac will no longer just be like a piece of tech that you own. Like it will be a government like mandated bouncer that pretty much requires you to scan an ID or verify your face before you are even allowed to reach your own like home screen. Like this is the ultimate like win for the surveillance state right here, because it moves the censorship from like the internet directly into like the silicon chips inside your own device, ensuring that no amount of encryption or VPN usage can actually save you from a device that is pretty much like programmed to watch you from the inside out. Like when your operating system knows exactly who you are like at the core level, like it can then automatically apply like the stuff in the UK, like blacklist and stuff, to your browser and your apps without the government ever like having to send a single warrant to your house. Like they are building an inescapable like cage here, where the computer on your desk is the one enforcing like the laws against you. And with states like Alabama, for example, passing similar level laws in February, this model of government controlled like hardware is spreading across like the US. Like this gotta stop. But despite how bleak this reality looks, like I will say, there is a reason to like keep fighting and have some hope, and it comes from the fact that these governments are absolutely like, kind of terrified of the independent communities and self-hosting like geeks who are exploding in popularity right now. Like the reason they're pushing like these hardware level and provider level bans so hard is because like they know that they have completely like lost control of the decentralized web, and they're like desperate to force everyone back into a sanitized reality and platforms where the rules actually matter. Like we're seeing a massive resurgence in independent servers and private protocols that the UK Safety Act literally cannot touch, because there is no CEO to throw in prison and no central server for them to block. Like the more they try to ban the internet and like nations, the more they drive like talented people and users into like unmonitored corners and just drive innovation for privacy that no government can ever hope to regulate or even understand. It's like a game of cat and mouse if you think about it. And while in 2026 the game is getting more intense than ever, the tools and people are getting like smarter, and people are willing to be more private. Like the thing is that the era of the lazy internet where you can just trust big tech to be our gateway is kinda over. We're entering a new era where your privacy is something you actually have to build and defend for yourself. Like it's a conscious thing. And here's the thing, even if you're not in the UK, even if you're not in the US, like other nations are doing the same thing. Like it's gonna be coming to everyone, so you have to lock in no matter where you live. So yeah, that's it for this video, and I'll see you next time.